You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
It's time for the Dragon Con Report, a podcast dedicated to help newcomers and veterans prepare for the upcoming annual convention in downtown Atlanta. With interviews, advice, and news from the pros and fans alike. Be careful, you never know. You might actually learn something.
Howdy everyone, and welcome to the 5th episode of the 2023 Dragon Con Report. The music is still going on. There we go. We continue our 12th season covering the con we love so much. I'm your host, Mike Gordon, and I'm pleased to introduce you to the rest of our station crew, starting with Jen. Peekaboo! Channing is here too. Awesome. Hey guys, haven't seen you guys in quite some time.
Oh my god, it's been so long.
So long. Yeah. We actually all recorded yesterday. We celebrated Earth Station 1 podcast 700th anniversary. Actually 700th episode. We've been doing this for about 13 years, and
700th anniversary. Wow.
Yeah, that's I'm not Yoda age.
Is the 700th anniversary the plutonium anniversary? Is that how that works?
I have no idea. I can't afford that anyway. So, if Mike and I have to swap gifts like that, I don't know. So, but anyway, that was a lot of fun. So that's on YouTube. That's available on podcasts on Earth Station 1. So I highly recommend checking that out because we had a lot of fun recording that last night. So thank you guys again for joining us to celebrate that. That was fun.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yes, and now we are here to talk all about Dragon Con, of course. This is the 5th episode. And how are you guys doing? How are you guys feeling about it? Now, our main topic is going to be cosplay. We're going to get to that, after we do some news and notes and guest announcements. But how are your cosplays going? Did I even ask? I mean, we're less than we're past the halfway point.
One of my primary cosplay designers is a bit of a procrastinator. Okay. It's my wife, and I love her. So, we'll probably be doing a few 11th hour ones. There were 2 that I did last year that we want to upgrade, and I've got 1 new one. Each year, I've done a little bit more with cosplay. So, one year I'm going to get on our guest level and really just blow some minds.
Do you at least have the ideas there? Like the ideas of what you're shooting for this year so far?
So this year I've got a Coming to America inspired one. I've got a G.I. Joe one because as everybody who listens knows, I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan. So those are the 2 big ones. One day I'm gonna pull off a Gambit. That's the real one. I just got to find me some glowing cards.
Is that all you need?
A better Cajun accent, but otherwise.
Jen, what about you? Do you have to decide pretty soon, how many new costumes you're gonna have?
Well, so my procrastination has reached a whole new level this year. Because typically, me and my whole group of friends, we've started planning what we're doing for the following year while we're at con because ideas will hit us. And I've noticed the past few years, I kind of think about what I want to do, but then I put it off. If I think of something, I'll write it down. And this year, I have there was one I was going to do last year. I might do it again this year. Then my brain goes to, why don't I just take it easy and maybe only do two costumes and be casual cosplay for the rest of the time. That's not going to happen. I know it won't happen because July is going to hit. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to have this explosion of ideas go off of my brain. And then somehow I'm going to end up with 9 costumes when it's time to leave for con. Whew. But the one we just decided on, I guess the one you could say we're most excited about last week and we are going to do 50s style Western outfits, like the cowboy shirts with the fringe and the appliques, and then for the women, matching skirts. Oh. So me and my husband are going to be the rebellion, and our friend and her husband are going to be the dark side. So we're doing Star Wars Western outfits.
Nice. Ooh, I can't wait to see those. That sounds like a great idea. What inspired that?
Well, I'm part of the rockabilly music scene.
Yep.
And that's, for like 25, 30 years. So that's kind of part of some of the attire we wear anyway when we go to concerts or if we're on stage. And my friend who's going to be the dark side, we just had here in San Antonio our big fiesta event, which is kind of like San Antonio's version of Mardi Gras. It's 2 weeks of different festivals every day. It's a big fundraiser for the city, and she takes part in this event that's called Corneation, and it's 3 nights of 2 performances each, where it's like a comedy variety show. They make skits. There's different groups that make outlandish costumes, and her group did women of country music, and she was Patsy Cline, and she made the outfit, the shirt with all the fringe and the matching skirt, and she said it was really easy. And I was like, that'd be really cute if we wore something like that for Dragon Con. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, we should do Star Wars. Because my brain will always first go to Marvel, for Marvel characters, but I don't really want to be like in a lot of green for the X-Men in a full Western outfit.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Lycra is one thing or spandex if you're doing their exact costume. Where I was like, how can I get away with like wearing colors I prefer to be in? So I was like, oh, Star Wars, white for the rebellion, or if we want to do like Tatooine type outfits, a light cream color. Dark side could be black and red.
I like it. I like it. And there's a lot of ties between Star Wars and the Westerns. So
yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Oh, we got someone doing Padme this year too. So Star Wars is still in as far as so it's not old yet. But we're gonna talk all about costumers, cosplaying at Dragon Con, what the experience is like, and
wait, do you have all your cosplay fezzes ready, Mike?
I'm getting there. If people have been paying attention, this is the 5th different fez that I've worn this year. So I'm trying a different fez for every show. So at the end, there's gonna be a vote as to which fezzes I should be wearing.
Well, you gotta wear them every day, a different one every day.
I can do that, and I have done that before. So that is definitely in the realm of possibilities. But anyway, we're gonna get into all the cosplay stuff. That's our main topic. We've got a couple of special guests going to join us there too. Really excited about that. But before we do that, let's get some news out of the way. And again, let me thank everybody for joining us. I see that there's quite a few people already that are checking us out on YouTube and the Facebooks and all that. So thank you so much. And I sound old when I say that, right?
I was going to say, you're checking us out, huh?
Yeah, checking us out. Yeah.
So
on the Facebooks.
Thank you for joining us. And of course, Director Faber is working behind the scenes. So please do your comments, post your comments, and we'll post as many of them as we can, and we'd like to hear from you guys. So also we are a proud member of the ESO Network. We have a TeePublic store filled with all kinds of cool stuff, including a very cool design for the Dragon Con Report podcast. There's a link for that in this episode's show notes and at the top of the ESO Network page. The ESO Network also has a Patreon page, and once again, thank you guys so much, all our patrons who are supporting us through that. That means so much to us, so thank you for that. Welcome, as I said, to all our viewers on Facebook and YouTube. The audio version of our show is still available via all the usual places, so Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, Audible. They're all there. And in addition, you can always access past episodes from this year and the past 12 years at DragonConReport.com. however you access our show, please like and share, like and share, like and share. We really do appreciate that. And if you want to leave us direct feedback or comment on the show, please feel free to do so at feedback@dragonconreport.com, or you can reach out to us via Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're on all that as well. And also, I need to just point out once again, Dragon Con Report is an unofficial podcast of the con. We are not and never have been officially connected with Dragon Con. We just love it a lot. For all of the official news, we strongly recommend checking out the official site and the social media outlets. So that all said, let's get started. There's not a lot of huge news from the last time we talked. Now, we recorded the last episode on the 18th of April, and sure enough, on the 20th of April, they had a town meeting. So, like 2 days later. So, but my understanding is that in the town meeting, it was basically just covering mainly and talking about disabled services. Is that correct?
I believe that was that episode.
Yes.
That's what I heard from the recap. I wasn't able to make it, but that was their main topic. Yeah.
Okay. And they did have a couple of guest announcements and all that. So so that's I didn't hear any like big news come out of that. So I'm sure they will have a town meeting probably in the next couple days.
Tomorrow.
Probably right after we finish.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see how that goes. But right now, the rates for Dragon Con, if you want to get a 5-day membership pass for 2023, and again, it's Labor Day weekend, August 31st and September 4th. You can get those online. They are $155 for the 5-day pass. I still think that's a huge bargain for what you get. And not sure exactly when they're going to go up, but they will probably go up at least one more time.
It's the 15th of June.
15th of June. Thank you. Thank you. So I was going to say it's probably going to go up at least one more time before the event. Maybe twice, do you think? Just once, maybe?
No, I don't. I'm pretty sure it said, yeah, it's in June. It'll go up again at the show, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll keep a.
Or maybe they'll change it. Maybe they'll whatever price it becomes in June, they'll just say through the show. So
the point is, as we've always said, get your tickets as soon as possible because the sooner you get them, the cheaper they are.
Yep.
So right now they're $155. They are non-refundable and non-transferable. So make sure you're going to come if you are going to pay for the memberships. The guest applications close on May 31st. So you got a couple weeks if you want to try to apply to be a guest this year. The guest list is filling up pretty fast, as you'll find out in a few minutes. We have a lot of guest announcements that were made in the last few weeks. So we're going to cover that. But yes, if you want to participate in Dragon Con either as a guest or a attending pro, you need to get your application in. Just go to dragoncon.org and fill out the application and send it along, and they'll let you know.
And if there's somebody you want to see at Dragon Con, reach out to them. Twitter's a thing. Facebook's a thing.
Good point.
Respectfully, reach out to them and say, hey, here's this con, and give them a link to the application. Sometimes you just got to shoot your shot. The worst they can say is no, thank you.
And Dragon Con's a little different than a lot of other cons. I know several. I think we've talked about this before, but I know several people who are like, "Oh, I'd like to come to Dragon Con, but they just don't. They've just never reached out and invited me." But Dragon Con, fill out the application. You go to this website, you fill out the application. That's how a majority of the guests get named to be at Dragon Con. So yeah. If you want to participate, get your applications in. Also, I wanted to point out too, and this is kind of relative to the guest list, but if you go to the Dragon Con website, dragoncon.org, and then you click on the comics and pop artist alley, they have now on the official site, they have a list of every guest artist that's going to be in Artist Alley, as well as all of the attending artists. Those are people who have paid for tables or booths there. So if you want to know exactly who's going to be, at least at this point, who's going to be in Artist Alley. Right now, that's still going to be at the America Smart on the top floor. You can see the list of all of us. Like I'm there, and most of my colleagues are there too. Like I said, people who have paid for, and those aren't usually listed as guests. They're not usually listed on the guest list. So that's the only place that you can find out about how those people that are coming.
And that includes your comic artists, folks. So
that's exactly who that is. Yes.
Yeah. So if you need to get autographs, that's
if
where you go.
If you want to scan who's going to be there, and what you need to bring in terms of what you want to get signed, or how much money you need to bring, or a lot because you want to get the prints, or you want to get some books and stuff. The whole list is right now available on DragonCon.org. It's a huge list. It's a big space. And again, it's not going to be 100% because there will be some changes, I'm sure. But this is pretty much the core list. They don't actually have table numbers assigned to them yet, but that'll probably come in the next, 3 months, probably right before. So
the answer to the money question is easy. How much money do you bring? All of it.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Like I said, we don't know when the next town hall meeting will be, but we do know the next volunteer meeting will be in July. It's July 16th at the Hilton at 4 p.m. And of course, if you can't make it to be there in person, you can actually see it online on the Facebook group. If you want to volunteer, it's not too late. Like, just get those applications in as well, because they are still looking for tons of people in all areas. So if you want to participate in DragonCon in that respect, if you can't be a guest or whatever, and you want to participate with a track or behind the scenes in some other department, get those applications in, and then plan to make time for the meeting on July 16th. That's all the official news.
Nope.
But I also saw that there was, I guess it's semi-official, but there's they did post something about a certain photographer, right,
yes,
Jen?
sirree. And it is official because he is the official cosplay photographer of DragonCon.
That's true.
So Brian Humphrey's photography passes went on sale last week. For those of you who have been to DragonCon before, his booth is set up on the atrium level. I think it's the atrium level of the Marriott. It's right next to the Walk of Fame. And you can get some great professional shots done of all your different cosplays. They typically sell out every year. In fact, his couples multi-passes sold out within like 2 hours of them going on sale last week. All of the take it with a grain of salt. Not a grain of salt. That's not the right term. These are limited quantity through the website. They will have a few, I think, for sale on site with him if he has space. But right now, what is available is individual sessions. That means if you just have 1 or 2 costumes and you don't need to get a lot of photos taken throughout the whole thing, those are $50 a piece. You can do a group session that's 2 or more people for $60. He still has individual multi-passes available for $140. That's for people who are like me or like Joe, who's coming up in a bit, who go from anywhere from 8 to, I think she did 15 costumes one year. We'll ask her when she gets on. But if you're going to have a lot of photos or a lot of costumes, you need photos of, your multi-pass is the way to go. And again, that's $140. But they're limited. And I think the last time I saw him post, he said they were either 70 or 72% sold out.
Wow.
And that was a few days ago when I saw that. But if you're interested in finding out more information about that, you can go to the DragonCon store from the website, and it'll take you to the Grotix page. And the sessions are underneath workshops. All the different sessions available. And you can find other workshops there too. The swordplay and stage combat workshops with Robert Chapin are available already. The writers workshops with Jody Lynn Nye, and some other hourly workshops. and anytime something gets announced that you can take classes with, a lot of times they will be in that workshop section. I think when Erin Gray does her Tai Chi, that's also listed in the workshop section. It's not on there yet, though, so I'm not sure if she'll be coming back for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not surprised that they go fast. I mean, Brian is an amazing photographer and been either in some capacity, unofficially or officially, associated with Dragon Con for as long as I can recall. Always taking great shots, so they are definitely worth the price. Check that out. He's also known as the mad scientist with a camera.
Mad scientist with a camera.
So,
and plus, each year he does all the people he photographs. He makes a yearbook.
Yes,
and so you can get your costumes in a fancy book.
Absolutely,
if you're interested in it. I've been getting. He's been taking my photos since he was a roaming photographer.
Wow.
And just catching different shots. So he's been doing my photos for a year. I see somebody just asked a question about Brian's ticket. It won't be appointments. Bettina, you'll just show up, and depending on how long sometimes there's a line, and you'll wait with maybe 10 people in front of you, but he moves fairly fast. But otherwise it's just show up when you're ready. And if he's not on dinner break, when you go see him to check in that you've bought a pass, they'll let you know his hours. I think the hours might actually be posted on the workshop section too, where you bought your ticket. As long as he's open, it's just to show up and get in line.
Awesome. And I mean, just check out his Facebook page if you want to just see his work, if you're not familiar with him. And you'll be wowed, and definitely, it's a great thing to do. And like Jen said, he does put together a book, every year, and the pre-sale for last year's book, the 2022 book, is happening right now. So you can find out all the information about that by going to his Facebook page as well.
Yep.
And just if you want to reserve your copy of one of those. So, and I would definitely recommend reserving a copy too.
Because there's two different versions. The pre-sale version is the director's cut. And then, so it's bigger. There's more included in it. And then the ones that he'll have at con that you can buy there, those will be the commercial version. So they'll be a little bit smaller.
Absolutely. Does the director's cut have his commentary on it, like a little audiobook format?
No, thank goodness, no, because
I don't know. I'd pay for that.
Well, all good information to have. So yes, that's most of that's all the news that I were able to cough up for the last few weeks. But like I said, there have been some guest announcements. So let's get those. Let's get to those. So we get through those. Take it away, Jen, because this is a big list.
All right. Omid Abtahi is best known for his roles as Selim in American Gods and Dr. Pershing in The Mandalorian on Disney+. He can also be seen playing Salim Oldman in NCIS on Paramount Plus and Holmes in Hunger Games: Mockingjay Part 2.
Michael Bailey has been a podcaster since 2007 when he launched his first show, Views from the Long Box. He's hosted, co-hosted, or guest hosted on a number of podcasts.
Cullen Bunn is the writer of creator-owned comic books The Six Gun, Harrow County, Bone Parish, The Damned, The Empty Man, Regression, The Ghoul Next Door, and Basilisk. He has also written books like Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, Uncanny X-Men, and As Guardians of the Galaxy for Marvel, Sinestro and Lobo for DC, and Shadow Man and Punk Mambo for Valiant.
Featured on Nova's Secret Life of Scientists for her dual life as a psychopharmacologist and stunt woman, Dr. Jessica Kale also serves as a scientific consultant for Hollywood films as well as an author.
Peter Cutler, artist for New Legends Tiki Zombie, done over the last 30 years for ABS Inc., Con Tees, Galactic Crest, East Cobber, and Guy Gilchrist Productions, also working on his own Spooky Cookies art, books, and many other items.
Milton Davis is an award-winning Black speculative fiction author and owner of MB Media LLC, a publishing company specializing in science fiction and fantasy based on African and African diaspora history, culture, and traditions.
Tim Doyle is an illustrator and printmaker from Austin. He self-published Amazing Adult Fantasy and was the art director lead designer for Mondo. He has produced art for Marvel, Dark Horse, Cartoon Network, Studio Canal, and art directs poster series for bands such as Metallica, Failure, and Weird Al Yankovic.
Claudia Gray is the New York Times best-selling author of Master and Apprentice, Leia, Princess of Alderaan, Bloodline, Lost Stars, the Constellation series, the Firebird series, the Spellcaster series, and the Evernight series. She's also branched out into graphic novels with the House of L.
Marcus Harvey is the most spiritual member of the Ghost Brothers group. His ability to sympathize and relate to families sets him apart, whether it's bonding with an upset spouse or winning over a scared child. He has an uncanny ability to provide peace and hope to frightened families.
Jeffro Headley is arguably the brains of the operation on Mountain Monsters, as he handles research and technology and has the ability to recall mountain folklore and traditional history. Jeff runs the thermal camera on night hunts and organizes witnesses to be interviewed before investigations.
Eric Lance is founder and CEO of Four Horsemen Publications and host of the Drinking with Authors and Eerie Adventures podcast, as well as a screenplay and horror thriller author.
Eisner Award winner Jay Lee is a Korean-American comic book artist known for his dark style. In 1990, he became one of the youngest artists to ever work for a major publisher. His art can be seen in Stephen King's Dark Tower, Before Watchmen Ozymandias, Marvel's The Inhumans, and Batman Superman.
Joe Huckleberry Lott is the towering U.S. Marine veteran who has more than 50 years of backwoods experience to draw on as he works to keep the Ames team on Mountain Monsters safe during their nighttime hunts. Despite his height and intense stare, Huckleberry is a gentle giant with a big heart.
Jacob Buck Lowe may be the youngest member of Ames from Mountain Monsters. He takes a fair bit of ribbing from the older guys, but he's always willing to do what it takes to help solve the cryptid mysteries and hunt the monsters of Appalachia.
Rick Lyon, a puppeteer for theater, television, and film, created the puppets for Broadway's Tony Award-winning Avenue Q and also played Nicky and Trekkie Monster. Other work includes Sesame Street, Men in Black, the original live-action Ninja Turtle films, Muppet Vision 3D, and The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Ghost Brothers' Jawan Mass has a passion for helping people and is willing to jump into the fire to get answers. The Eagle Scout is a natural-born explorer, but knows when to run if the stuff hits the fan. Mass and Spratt bonded over their shared experience.
Carl Moline has worked as a professional comic book artist with every major comics publisher for over 20 years. He is best known for his work on Buffy the Vampire Slayer and co-creating Frey with Joss Whedon. He recently finished working on Eternus with Scout Comics and Andy Serkis.
Michael Mosley is an avid convention goer and costume designer. He's presented at several major conventions over the past 10 years, such as DragonCon, MomoCon, and San Diego Comic-Con. His professional costume credits include building costumes for the WWE, NFL, and various TV shows.
Mountain Monsters' Wild Bill Neff is a sheer brute force and assists with the traps and tracking monsters through the woods. The Marine Corps veteran and big game trapper never hesitates to climb a tree, scale a wall, or give chase, and his hyper-gregarious personality brings energy to the team.
Matt Nietzsche is a local Atlanta actor, puppeteer, and co-host for DragonCon's own Late Night Puppetry Slam.
Katie O'Brien is best known for her roles as Jentora in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, George in Sci-Fi's Z Nation, Major Sarah Gray in Black Lightning, and Kimball in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. O'Brien plays Imperial Communications Officer Ella Kane in the second and third seasons of The Mandalorian.
Phoenicia has been a belly dancer since 1983. In addition to cabaret, ethnic, tribal, and fusion belly dance styles, she's also a nationally certified ballroom dance instructor.
Freddie Prinze Jr. is an actor, writer, and producer. He has starred in films I Know What You Did Last Summer, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, She's All That, Summer Catch, Scooby-Doo, and Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed. Prince voiced Kanan Jarrus in Star Wars Rebels.
Andy Serkis is best known for his performance capture roles in the Lord of the Rings film trilogy and The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey, King Kong and Planet of the Apes reboot trilogies, The Force Awakens, and The Last Jedi. He's also portrayed Kino Loy in the Star Wars Disney Plus series Andor. Andy is only appearing on Sunday.
Number one New York Times best-selling author Scott Sigler is the creator of 15 novels, 6 novellas, and dozens of short stories. He gives his stories as weekly serialized audiobooks with over 40 million episodes downloaded.
Dallin Spratt is addicted to history in both inside and outside of the paranormal. The entrepreneur and fashion designer is the ringleader of the team on Ghost Brothers, with his finger on the pulse of who, what, where, when, and why of each case.
Sparkle Stash is an award-winning cosplayer and creator from Sacramento, California. She enjoys working with EVA foam, needlework, wig manipulation, SFX makeup, prosthetics, large-scale props, and many other materials.
S.M. Sterling was born in France in 1953 and published his first novel, Snow Brother, in 1984. His latest books are Conan, Blood of the Serpent, Warlord of the Steppes, and the upcoming To Turn the Tide, a time travel novel which will be coming out from Baen in 2023.
William Stout is an American fantasy artist and illustrator with a specialization in paleontological art. His paintings have been shown in over 70 exhibitions, including 12 one-man shows. He has worked on over 30 feature films, doing everything from storyboard art to production design.
H.C. Warner is responsible for the birth of the comics and pop art installation in a double suite poolside at the Sheraton, featuring an array of present leaders in the lowbrow and pop art arena. Warner's been part of Atlanta's lowbrow scene since the early 90s.
And that's it.
That's well done. Once again, I think there are some folks that are feeling pretty good, but as usual. Yeah, we finally made it. Great job, guys. All right, so we're gonna give you guys a minute to take a beverage or two, and we're gonna be right back with our main topic. Exactly. Yeah, that's for those people who are watching. This is bonus material here, but I will say that when I was looking at the guests and narrowing it down to that list, there are a lot of paranormal experts /
and they usually are.
Yeah, I mean, there was I could have made just a list of 30 of those that are coming this year. It's amazing. I didn't realize that was such a big thing at Dragon Con.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot last year. I don't think as many as this year. The Ghost Brothers, I know, have been there before.
Oh, and the Ghost Hunters cast from that show, they've been there before. Because one of my friends, that's one of her favorite shows. She freaked out the year that they came because she loves that show so much. So, and a lot of costumers and cosplayers were announced as well. So there was quite a bit. Lots of Ghost of Dragon Con. It's haunted. I don't know. Maybe it is. I wouldn't be surprised. The ghost of my former self walking around the Sheraton.
That could be the case for all of us, right? Yeah. me from 20 years ago is still somewhere around the Sheraton. Yeah.
Oh, so. Sarah, I'm gonna have to learn how to dance first. Then we can talk.
Oh yeah, why not? Now she's gonna offer to teach you, and then you're gonna be stuck. So.
All right, let's go to the main topic. So, because I know we've got a couple of folks waiting, so I appreciate their patience. So, without further ado, 3, 2. Welcome back, everyone. And now it's time to talk about our main topic. We're going to get into the world of cosplay deeper at Dragon Con. And we have a couple of cool folks joining us for the first time, I believe. We've got Joe and Keenan here. Welcome to the network, the show.
What's going on?
Hey, howdy. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Let's get right to it. Joe, like tell me about your first Dragon Con.
Oh my God. Really overwhelmed. I brought like 4 or 5 costumes, and I was like, this is my mecca, and I will never miss this ever again.
So when was that?
And like 2010.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been going for like 13 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
We both went for the first time the same year. And then we became friends.
Yes.
That's so awesome. So it sounds like you already knew that was a thing at Dragon Con, right? So that you been to other cons and just cosplayed all
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, so I've been to other cons, and then I found out about Dragon Con earlier that year, and I was like, I must go to this.
Awesome.
It's like
awesome.
mecca of nerdom, must go.
So this will
be. I too am obsessed with ghosts. So when I see like the ghost hunters, I am like I've had drinks with them, and so it's been great.
Very nice, very nice. Kane, what about you? When was your first Dragon Con?
My first Dragon Con was 2014.
Okay.
My friend Brian took me, and I had no idea what it was. I knew cosplay was a thing because I've like been into comics and anime and everything since I was like 5. So like I was aware like that there was cosplay stuff. I just hadn't had that push into it yet. And in 2014, like he took me to my first Dragon Con, and I was so overwhelmed. Like it was just amazing seeing all of these built cosplays and everything. And I was just thinking like, holy crap, how have I not been doing this for like the past 5 years? And I pretty much told him, man, I'm not coming back to any con unless I cosplay. So I've been doing it for almost a decade now.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. Well, I've been going for, this will be my 30th, and I think even right from the beginning, cosplay was special. At Dragon Con. There was something special about the cosplayers at Dragon Con. It just was, I had been to other conventions, and sure, people had dressed up in costume, but it really seemed like it was a special event of its own kind at Dragon Con. And it really attracted the best of the best, as far as cosplayers from eventually around the world would come to Dragon Con, would seek Dragon Con out. And so I'm not kind of surprised that it inspires you guys, but let me go back to you, Joe, for a second. Like how did you start with cosplay then, if it wasn't at Dragon Con?
I had been obviously dressing up for Halloween and events, and I'd go to like themed parties like way back when I was younger. But I really got into it in 2008, 2009. And I started just making my costumes, and like doing research. And my mom was a seamstress when I was younger, so I just kind of recruited her to help me. And now like every year she comes down right before Dragon Con, like probably like a few months before, and I have a specific project that her and I do, and I get ready for Dragon Con, and she actually gets mad if like she doesn't have a project to work with me on. So like my Mira ball gown, we beat it in 3 months, and she like nonstop, but like she enjoyed everything. Like she was just like, this is so amazing. And when I told her that she didn't have anything else to do, she got really mad at me.
It's the mother-daughter bonding experience.
Yes, where she gets upset.
How many costumes do you usually take?
Oh my God. So I heard Jen. And my
don't act like I was exaggerating. Okay. I know you.
I've seen you in a few too, Joey. Let's be real here.
So my top has been to bring 16.
Woo, okay.
But I wore 16, one of which was not my costume. They were doing a Mad Max thing that they were like, hey, can you like switch out one of your costumes and come to our panel and dress as one of like the warrior women? I was like, sure. So technically I wore 15 of my costumes, but 16 One was a screen accurate costume from Mad Max. So
Wow.
Great.
That is pretty incredible.
It was hot. It's very hot.
Ken, what about you? What did you find the experience of? So that you went there and you're like, I'm coming back. And so that next year, how prepared were you? Did you have multiple costumes?
No, I actually only did one. So I did Miles Morales Spider-Man. So this is back when he was like only in the comic book. So if you weren't reading comics, then you probably didn't really know who he was. I actually just bought a suit. I can't remember what the site was, but I got one of the Zentai suits, and I was like, all right, this is dope, but I like kind of want to put my own little flair to it. So I like puff painted the entire suit, and I think I finished like a week before the con. So this is my first time not having to con crunch, basically. And I was happy that I actually did it, because so you know how at I believe it's the Marriott, and they have those two statues that's out front by the
the poop lines.
Steps and everything.
The poop lines.
Yeah. And I like climbed up there, and like you could just kind of see it, like just I guess you could say it was reflecting from the sun. And I was taking like a quick photo for my cousin, and like so many people like just ran up, like 40 people ran up. And like they just want.
And then you were there for like an hour.
Yeah, exactly. So from like that moment on, I was like, yeah, I think I can do this for the rest of my life.
Nice. And have you gone to other conventions?
Oh yeah,
cosplay as well.
I've been to KatsuCon. That's where I think that's the first con that I brought my Nightcrawler to. I think that was the first one. Yeah. I did Nightcrawler for Katsu. I did a little casual beach version of a Kid Flash for Colossal Con. That was in 2018. I brought so many stuff to Dragon Con. I think I've done the Green Ranger. I did my Robin build first there. I did Kid Flash, Blue Beetle, like just so much stuff. And I've also been to AWA too. Like that's another one that I go to frequently. The last AWA, I didn't really do anything new, but I brought my Green Ranger back from Dragon Con, and that was my last time wearing it basically. So it's retired now. It's just chilling. I'll have my helmet on display at MomoCon this year, but I'm probably not going to bring the suit, but I will be bringing my entire Robin suit though.
Nice. Do you still do Miles as well? Is that still in the repertoire? Or
I just have.
He's so hot right now.
Suit hanging up, and that too, and it's an all black suit. So I don't want to pass out. So
you gotta suffer for your art sometimes, man.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
And I see some of the guys who they do like the halo, and it's other gear suits.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how do you do this? Like,
well, a lot of them there's room to put
fans.
Yeah, to put fans.
Okay,
in.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Or like cooling packs, like the ice packs that they just wear.
I mean, that's the dedication right there.
Yeah, I had to wear those when I did Arya from Game of Thrones, because it was so many layers, and it was half of them were leather, and some of them were wool, and it was just like, there needs to be fans.
Yeah, kudos, props to you, because I don't know if I can do that.
Well, let me ask you this then, both of you. What's the downside? What are the worst elements of cosplaying, specifically at Dragon Con, but just in general, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
So before COVID, I would go to like 20 to 25 shows a year. So it was like nonstop, and so it became like a second job. It's also like an addictive hobby, which is not a cheap hobby. So I'd have like bins of mistakes, and then like now that like everything's opening up again, it's nice to like kind of like ease your way in. But if you like, I don't know if you guys get this, but like if you go to a con and you're not like dressing up, they're like, why aren't you dressed up? Like, no, really, what's the surprise? Like, what are you dressing up as? And like literally just nerdy me. Like nerd dress. I'm walking around and they're like, no. You're like, so I feel like it's like not pressure, but you've set that bar where people are expecting you to be like constantly changing into costumes.
No, I think
and this is my pressure. Own fault.
it's pressure. No, because when I'm dressed casually, people are like, are you not wearing anything today? I'm like, no, I just thought I'd take it easy today. No, really, when are you putting something on? You got to be wearing something at night. You're just casual during the day, right? It's just like,
yeah,
I haven't planned on it. No.
But now I am, thanks.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because cosplayers like you, y'all set the bar so high, people want to see what you're going to bust out. Your Stranger Things from last year
was amazing.
Blew a lot of people's minds. So, yeah, it's like, okay, how's Joe gonna top this in 2023? That's kind of what's on people's mind.
Yeah, I have a plan. I'm currently pregnant.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, are you actually going this year?
Yes.
Okay.
So Brian actually PM'd me and was like, "Are you seriously going? I thought you were gonna take a year off." And I was like, "Excuse me." No. He's like, "Are you bringing the baby?" I was like, "No, Wes put his foot down. Like the baby is not going to Dragon Con. It's like going to be 3 months old. So my parents are taking care of the baby, but we are coming down." So far that's the plan. Now I don't health wise, if like I have a difficult labor, then I'm probably not going to come, but I have costumes lined up. And so there is a surprise or two.
Gotcha. We got a question here about how do you travel with all those costumes? How many suitcases, and do you guys fly, drive? Like, I mean, do you have? That seems like a lot to carry.
I fly.
Private jet.
Yeah, I normally drive. I don't think I've had the pleasure of flying yet. I'll always drive. Dragon Con is very fortunate. It's like 35 minutes away from me.
I know. Anytime somebody's like, yeah, I'm local, I'm like, oh, that's so nice. Yep. I can't do that.
Just want to shake you. Like I drive like 10, 11 hours from like the DC area.
Yeah.
And we caravan, and sometimes there's like 4 people in a car, so we rotate.
Mm-hmm.
And we leave around like midnight the day before. We get there Wednesday. So like Tuesday into Wednesday, we start driving. And
yeah, like that's gonna be us for DreamCon this year, and it was us for KatsuCon. I think Katsu was about 12 hours.
See, that's 3 hours. That's 30 minutes from my house. So yes, right, I feel you for that.
Yeah, so you get it.
Yeah, and we fly. So like I have a carry-on.
Yeah, you do.
I have 2 carry-ons, and then I have a big suitcase, and my husband costumes too. But I will inevitably always slide pieces of my stuff into his suitcase and be like, "You don't have any more room. This is for me." And then we've benefited in that his family lives 30 minutes outside of downtown. So
you've mailed stuff.
Yeah, we mail stuff every year. And then at the end of con, I throw all my costumes out of my suitcase, unless it's like I'm not leaving my lightsaber. That's a carry-on. That's coming with me. But I'll throw out all my costumes and have her ship that back, and then I pack like all the stuff I bought and fly back with that.
I was gonna say, what do you mean you're throwing out your costume?
No, I pack it. I pack that I repack it in the boxes I ship stuff in and have it shipped back. But then I'll get home and I'll be like, oh, I'd really like to wear those boots. Not going to see those for 3 weeks. Because, I can't be like, hey, mail it back immediately. Because that'd be rude. So.
I have flown before, and the people I usually drive with, they'll take my stuff or part of my stuff. And so I like put in for gas. But now it's just easier. Like with the Stranger Things costume, like it took up so much
fly with that.
So much room that we had to take a second car. Like we had a Dodge Grand Caravan, and then my husband was like, this monstrosity is not going in to that car with 4 people's other stuff. And everyone brings like 10, 12 costumes. So, and there's like lightsabers and like armor and foam. And so I was like, So what you're saying is there's going to be 2 cars. So last year there was like 1 car for my dress and some of the other bigger things that we just kind of like, but like my golden armor wings went in there underneath, and then the Dodge Caravan was full of all the cloth and food and bins. So
yeah, I gotta say that's a flex when you can say, yeah, my costume has its own car.
My costume will be here.
Yeah, I only bring. I think the most that I brought to a con might have been 3.
Oh,
what is that
like? You're gonna get there.
Yeah,
it's just gonna all of a sudden one year you're gonna not be able to stop yourself from coming up with more ideas that have to be done that year. You can't put them off, and the next thing you know, you've got 9.
What that's a good that leads me to a good question. Like, what inspires you guys? What, I mean, is it something that you see somewhere and you're like, I have to recreate that as authentically as I can, or you like the idea of mashing up a couple things, or is it a variety, or you just get inspired by certain ideas? Joe, where does it come from? How do you decide what you're gonna bring and what you're gonna wear and what you're gonna make?
I don't know. It's madness. Like I already came up with my bunny suit this year. And so I was like, oh, that would be interesting. Like I was asleep and I woke up and I was like, yes. And so like I found the corset that I needed and like pulling out elements. And my husband like wakes up, he's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm picking my bunny suit and like planning it. And I'm like drawing things out. And he's like, it's like 3:00 in the morning. I was like, it just comes to me. So I get inspired. So I do a lot of screen accurate costumes as well. So it's the challenge of making it or getting as close to how it is made on screen. I've done screen scene, but like I like the stitch counting. I like the challenge of like recreating and being able to say like this was almost looking like, or as close as I could possibly get it to what it looked like on the screen. So,
and I would imagine, Keenan, especially you said that you got inspired by Miles Morales in the comic. Bringing something to life in 3D from the comic must be a pretty good big challenge.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm the type of cosplayer where like, let me see how I can put it. I will like find like a certain character and I never like do their actual look. I always kind of like to put my own signature or like put some of like my personality into that character. So if you go through my cosplay list, I think maybe the only character that I've done that was like close to accurate might be between Miles and Cloud Strife. Like those are my only 2 that I was like, is really, really close, but there are still like some minor changes. But most of my cosplays, like even my Green Ranger, which was the very last cosplay that I did, I like kind of lean heavy into the dragon angle. So if like you notice like there's certain pieces like that they have dragon scales in them or like talons and like things like that. So I kind of have those thoughts about like this looks cool, but like if I could have made this character, if they hired me to make this character, what would it look like? And then I kind of go off of that mindset. So I come up with concepts, and it's like Joe pretty much said, I could be out eating with friends and I will randomly like just get this armor piece like, oh man, that would look cool as hell. And I'll kind of like go and scribble that down. So like by the time that I actually start, I probably have about 40 images and I have to basically put all of that together and then build it. So
that's amazing. That's amazing. And with Dragon Con, there's so much, I don't know, do you consider it, I mean, the community, I was going to say competition, but it's more like a community, right? The community of cosplayers, the level of people in costume at Dragon Con is unlike any other convention that I go to.
Yeah. Right. I would say it's not about, I mean, if you're joining the contest, sure, it's competition.
Yeah.
Right.
When I for me, when I started going, and my cosplay was down here,
right?
Seeing all the different builds and people working with new materials like EVA foam, well, new back then, Warbler when it became a thing, then it was inspiring. It was like, oh my God, I want to learn how to do that. It wasn't, oh my God, this person looks better than me. How dare they? It was, look at the talent this person has. I want to talk to them. I want to ask what these materials are. I want to see how long it took them. I want to ask for tips. And everyone at Dragon Con, I mean, yeah, you'll find some rude or snooty people everywhere, or people who don't want to tell you their secrets, but that's life. That's everywhere. But 9 times out of 10, somebody, if they're not busy being photographed or eating when you shouldn't be bothering them anyway, they have no problem taking the time out to tell you about their builds and give you ideas of resources to look for. So it's I would not be as good as I am if it wasn't for seeing and meeting people at Dragon Con and being inspired by them and learning how to be better from them.
Definitely.
Yeah. Even like makeup artists now come to Dragon Con to get inspiration, and they walk around and talk to cosplayers and other makeup artists that they wouldn't normally like see in their day to day. And like I got to talk to a makeup artist that was on Face Off, and he was just like, how did this all occur? And I was like, why is he asking me? He's like the professional makeup artist. And it was a really cool conversation. I've never been to another con that does stuff like that. It has that environment and that community of like learning and encouraging each other, and people taking the time to just chat.
Yeah, very true.
Another question we have is, how many costume ideas do you start but abandon because of work or time?
I don't have that problem.
He is not a quitter.
The only reason why I say that is because I'm very picky with what I cosplay. So if I dedicate to it, then it's gonna get made. Like that's just how it is. So
I've broken pieces and gotten frustrated and almost given up, but then I've glued it or just done something, to get it done, and then wear it and then fix it later.
Yep. I have a notebook where so old school. I have a notebook where I've written down, say I'm doing a costume, the name of the costume, and then every element I need.
Oh, I do that too. With little cutout inspiration photos.
Yep.
Good. Yeah.
And then I'm I'll have a column that says done or not done. And I'm over the years, it's just cumulative. I just keep going. And if I don't get it done, that gets moved to the next year. So
they're never completely abandoned.
Yeah.
It's just, you just don't start them to begin with because something else takes precedent, or you get new inspiration that takes all your focus. So it just gets put on the back burner. It doesn't get completely abandoned.
I had Lady Jessica that I was going to do last year.
Yeah.
The tan gold dress.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at that, the cage that she was wearing. And I had 2 other costumes that fell through because of parts that makers couldn't get done. Yeah. And I was like, I don't have a Saturday costume. That's not going to be good. I'm going to panic and have a meltdown. So then I was like, what? I need something to do. And at the time we were watching Stranger Things. There was a girl in Germany I had been following, and I was like, she had done the spine thing. And I was like, wait a minute. Okay, I'm going to do something crazy. And she was making things like a metal dress or a dollar dress or something. It was all inspired by certain things. And I was like, all right. And so she was starting to do a Stranger Things dress. And I was like, I need to make Vecna. I need to make a Vecna. I need to make the arm. I need to have a mask. And then just make myself pale. And so then I was
add some flying bats.
Yes. And then I was like, I need bats. My husband was like, where are you getting bats? They're not going to look the same. I was like, trust me. So I deconstructed bats that we had gotten that were gigantic and reworked them, and he's like like a day later, he's like, have you slept? And I was like, no, I have to finish the bats. And he's like, how are you making them fly? I was like, don't worry, armature wire. So like I ripped part of my was it Mrs. Who from it was Oprah's costume in it was like Mrs. What, Mrs. Who, and Mrs. What's it? Like it was
Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time, yes.
Yeah.
So I used the corset, which was armature wire wrapped around her waist. I took that and made my bats, and like they can like move. And he was like, "What are you? This isn't gonna work." And then like 2 weeks solid, non-stop, like no one was allowed in my house to visit. He's like, I don't know how you do this. This is madness. Like he's like, I should stop saying that this isn't gonna work with you. Wrinkle in Time. Thank you.
Yeah. The Wheel of Time is something different.
Yeah. It's like,
oh, Channing, you said you had a few questions you wanted to ask.
Yes, I just want to point out I was 2/3 right on that answer. So we'll take that. I got the of time part. You two are different in that you're not just cosplayers, like we said earlier. You're cosplay makers. I'm just curious, did either one of you have any kind of maker experience that you were able to port over when you decided to start doing cosplay? Or did you kind of go to YouTube University and Reddit Technical College to learn how to do everything?
Mine was kind of like a combination of like different things. Like there's certain things that I was like self-taught on just through like trial and like error. And there were certain things that I like kind of had, I guess you can call them like a mentor, like my friend Brett. So when I got into 3D printing, he was like kind of like my sensei with it. So he taught me like a lot of different things with that. And then there was some like I had to go straight to YouTube, mainly when it came to like learning about certain adhesives and things like that. That came straight from YouTube, even with 3D printing, because there's certain things where I would like test run, like for an example, super glue. If you're watching this right now, avoid super glue when it comes to 3D printing.
Oh yeah,
I have had like just so many problems. When I first built I think it was my second Buster sword, and it held up through an entire con. And I was in the parking lot with some friends, like we were getting ready to leave, and we were just being dumb. And I swung it, and like the whole thing just came apart. And I was just like, wow. Like, I'm glad that this didn't happen when I was at the convention, but it sucks because you put so much like just time, energy, work into it. So for it to like just come apart like that, like I was just like, man, what the hell? So I stopped using super glue. It'll hold up, but if you're outside in certain temps, then it just gets weak. So I stopped using it. I like kind of solder now. So, but yeah, I think
they also sell. There's a glue that will actually fuse plastic.
The 3D glue you're talking about?
No, it's this one you can find in the hardware section. I can't remember. I think it's called InstaFuse or something like that. I learned it with a sword too. A She-Ra sword where my handle kept snapping off.
See, you feel my pain.
Yeah, and then my husband, who he used to be an electrician, was like, "You're using the wrong glue. You need to fuse the plastic." And I didn't believe him that it was going to work. And yep, it melts the plastic, and then it's not going anywhere. So,
yep.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning, and I've been doing it for almost 10 years now, and I'm still learning things. So, and I think like that's really like what is cool about this hobby is you never really get to like a stopping point with it. Like you're gonna continuously learn something just throughout, like just trial and error, basically. So,
well, also new products, new stuff comes out all the time that we get to, but no one's ever seen before, and then we get to learn how to work with new things.
Yes. Oh, somebody said Bondo is pretty good. Yes, it is. I use Bondo now like crazy. Wood filler is another good one. Soldering. I use this other product called Rapid Fill. Just fills in layer lines like really, really well, and you can sand in like 30 minutes. It's just perfect.
So if anybody knows anyone who works at Bondo, Keenan could use a sponsor.
For real, because I would gladly take you up on that.
I think that's every costumer. It's just like,
yeah, pretty much.
Can some EVA foam company just like call me up?
Yep. So I learned to sew from my mom. But yeah, I would talk to people like I started like watching like because I wanted to, this was crazy, for my Hella costume. I was like, I need to texturize a suit and I need to get like make silicone molds. And so I contacted Smooth On and I was like, hey, how do I do this? And they were like, there's these videos we have and then these products. And I was like, can you get them to me like in the next couple of days? And so like I overnighted all of this stuff and then learned via their videos. And then with other stuff, I've like talked to people or done the YouTube thing. But mostly it's like I have very creative friends who have either tried and failed or tried, failed, and succeeded with things. And I'm like, hey, how do you do PETG and make them glow and all that stuff? And so we'll sit for like an hour and draw it out, and like I'll learn from them and ask them anything that I need. And so I don't usually go to YouTube first, but I just want to be like, I like talking to people more because then you can bounce ideas off, whereas like YouTube is wonderful to learn, but then like if you have questions, then you're like, you still have to find somebody.
Yeah.
No, you don't just go to the YouTube comments because it's really chill there.
Always so helpful.
This is going to show my age, but I used to go to Instructables. Which I'm not even sure if it's still a thing.
No, it is. Yeah. It is. Because like when I made my Ray staff, that's how I learned how to make it. I went to Instructables.
I used it for like my first armor builds, for how to make the headdress for we did Marriott Beauty School dropouts. So we were trying to do the grease thing. So I learned it from Instructables. And we got another question for everybody.
Yes, this is for everybody. What's your dream cosplay? Yeah, like if money wasn't an issue, time, all that.
Doorways.
A female Guyver suit.
Oh.
Nice. I think mine might be the Iron Spider suit. Like that's one that I really want to do. Like,
wow. I
like kind of want to do it how I like do normally, where it's like a combination of 3D printing and EVA foam.
Mm-hmm.
And I want animatronic as well. Like, that's cool.
And I wanted to actually kind of like glow through the details too. So I know that's a cosplay that'll probably take about 2 years to come up with, and probably $500 to $1,000 in funds, but maybe one day,
Mine, I have two, and they've been my dream cosplays since before I started really costuming at conventions. And one is Hot Girl, and then Angela originally from Spawn, but now she's in the Avengers. Comic adventures. We haven't seen her on the big screen, but oh my god, if we see her on the big screen one day, I'm just gonna like scream in the theater and freak people out.
Scream at the screen.
Yeah. No, so her first appearance in Spawn when she was on the cover is it is one of the most beautiful costumes I've ever seen drawn. And I think I've seen one person do it at Dragon Con. I think it was a cosplayer named Kirsten, who I followed for years. Love her. I don't know if she actually brought it to Dragon Con, though. She might have done it for another one. But I need to be at the gym longer, for one. I got to figure out a way to wear platform shoes because she's tall and statuesque, like Joe is tall and statuesque. I am not tall.
So, you're perfect height when I walk up to you. It's fine.
Yes.
That's because I can nestle in your boots.
It's one of my favorite things of con. I'm not even joking. My husband's like, "Have you seen your friend Jen?" And I was like, "Not yet."
For those folks who may be shy about trying cosplay, what's some basic information? What's a number one rule that you guys have, or if you do have a rule, or
rule? I would say rule is the wrong term.
Rule's the wrong word, but what?
Yeah, don't be hard on yourself.
Yeah.
No one starts great. Like, I have bins that I've kept of all my mistakes, and there's a lot of
bins. Hey, my photos from my first Dragon Con and what I chose to wear, like steampunk costumes, I look like I'm going to a rave. Like, it is. Yeah. I mean, I'm not ashamed of what I wore, but I'm also like, okay, look where I began.
Yeah.
And like how far I've come.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I did a tragic Prince Hugh Hefner combination for the Bunny Hutch a couple of years back, and I look at pictures of them like, that did not come out how I planned. So yeah.
But did you have fun while you were wearing it?
Oh, exactly. And it goes back to what we said earlier.
Yeah.
Dragon Con is not a competition. It's really more of a showcase. Yeah. I have seen, the most almost movie accurate Iron Man costumes, and then you go 2 or 3 feet more to the right and you see somebody in like a cardboard Iron Man costume. And
hey, those cardboard costumes are creative as heck.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. Yeah. So yeah, it is definitely more of a showcase than a competition. Don't be afraid.
But yeah, for getting into it, like what I did in my area, I went to our local Lions Club, and they had once a week in the evening beginner sewer classes. I knew a little bit about how to sew before because I grew up with my aunt sewing all my costumes and like prom dresses and stuff, but I didn't know the ins and outs of a machine, and I didn't know like what the different seams were called. I'm sure I have a ton of books, but I don't learn that way. So I took the beginner sewing.
Hands on.
Yeah, I took that class for 6 weeks and ended up making my first 2 real costumes. I made Ramona from Once Upon a Time and the classic Miss Marvel, Jean Grey Marvel Girl, not Miss Marvel. The green outfit with the big yellow eye thing. I made both of those in 6 weeks, and the Ramona outfit was like a full-on glittery cape with 150 individually tacked on hanging feathers with beads. And so I went from 0 to the hardest thing possible. But there's tons of beginner sewer classes on YouTube. There's tons of beginning to work with EVA foam. There are foam companies, just like Smooth On. They have their own series of instructional videos. You figure out what you want to make, and there's a good chance somebody out there has a resource to help you learn how to do it, and it's free content.
Yeah,
it's
true. I would say embrace that fear, because you will be surprised at the places that it'll take you. And this is coming from somebody who, when I was younger, I had a lot of insecurities about like what people thought about me. But as I got older, then you start to realize, like, to hell with like what like they pretty much think. I'm gonna do what I want to do. And I feel like you have to embrace that. And I would also say hold on to your old cosplays, because you want to watch that journey. Like you kind of want to see that transition from, because my first stuff, like I just look at it now compared to what I do now, and I'm just like, damn, like I came a long way. And I feel like that's just one of the most beautiful things about cosplay, is you get to watch that.
You can also recycle them into other costumes. I've done that a lot.
I have friends that they do that too.
Yeah.
Also, like, don't rush to get, like, it's not like I find that some of the newer cosplayers, they want to catch up. It's not a catch up thing. You don't need to like race to get up to like us old timers.
Yeah.
Like take your time, learn your craft. Like, you'll be more thankful later, because like racing. You're not going to be able to enjoy and like get as frustrated and like learn. So I'd say like just enjoy the process.
Pick one. Start out by picking one thing you really want to make.
Yeah.
For that year, and do that one thing and be, like get it to where you're happy with it, and then make sure you can travel however you're getting to con with it, and
go to the bathroom.
And all that, and then you get a feel for the process, and if you want to start, add more as each year goes on. Don't jump to 8 or 15 or
don't try to start with 16.
Don't do what I do,
because that's when you're gonna get frustrated and have more chance to give up, because like I have found myself working on 5 costumes at the same time and then nothing gets done.
Yeah.
Because I don't just focus on one thing.
Yeah.
And then I'm in a rush.
More money. Like that. I find that when you do it that way, like especially in the beginning, you're like trying to piece, and then you're like, oh, I can upgrade this now. And you're like, but you're not even done. Like you don't know how it's gonna look.
Yeah.
So you're wasting more time and money. And you're just like, just start with one. Like Jen said, like just one, and then work on that slowly.
Yeah.
Oh, and take notes, whether it's on your phone or a notebook. Anytime you get an idea, like write stuff down. Are you watching a TV show, a cartoon, a movie? Well, you don't take notes during a movie. That'd be rude. But
just take out your phone and start recording.
Take notes. This a costume you like, an outfit you like, and then write it down. You can go back to that list at some point and then decide, oh, is this something I want to do this year? Do I want to do it screen accurate? Oh, do I want to make a mashup and mix this with another character? And it's like, big fan of mashups. Love mashups. Love funny
I love
costumes.
seeing your mashups.
Yeah.
Every year, I'm like, what is she gonna do next?
Because I see somebody asked in the comments, what type of reaction do you like to see when you're in cosplay? When I wear mashups, I want someone to turn the corner and go, holy bleep, and just start laughing because they get the joke, or they get the pun. Or if it's it's an idea that you never thought about, because like my group, we love to make Marriott carpet mashups. So I've done a Marriott Marvel. Yeah, we have a Marriott Marvel girl. We have a Marriott Lilu. We have a Marriott Harley Quinn. So it's don't limit yourself to a box. You can take a character you love, and let's say like Harley Quinn, for example. What if Harley Quinn was in the Bridgerton TV series?
That would be hilarious.
I love on my future list, I want to take Star Trek and make a Victorian Star Trek outfit. And then we also we've thought about doing.
Let me know when you want to do that. I'm in for the Victorian Star Trek.
Yeah, we look at every era and we're like, oh, let's do it as Star Trek. Oh, let's be Go-Go Girl Star Trek. Oh, let's be on the Titanic Star Trek. Like we just it's like we did a Rockabilly Star Trek a few years ago, or 50s, 60s Rockabilly Star Trek. So don't limit yourself when you're thinking of costumes. There's so many things. That are out there, and don't worry about that somebody else has already done it either, because they didn't do your spin on it.
Very solid.
I know.
And don't get intimidated by like screen accurate people. Like that's a different mindset.
That's called obsession, and you don't need to live in that world.
No. That is my obsession and my crazy to live in, and no one else needs to be in that. Like I don't do it all the time, but like I've seen people where they're like, oh my god, I can't do that because like you screen at. No, don't. This is me in my head. Like this is my OCD that I don't put it on anyone else. Like it's literally just me. So don't get intimidated. Just go learn, have fun, and enjoy the community.
Well, it's also your husband, but he signed up for that, so
yeah, he didn't really know what he was getting into. I think he just thought, he was like, oh, she's like really into costumes, like me. And then he was like, oh, you're insane.
Whereas like my husband, I turn around and see him cutting leather. I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm making a completely leather Darth Vader helmet and I'm lighting it up from the inside. Then a month later, what are you doing now? Oh, I'm making a leather wood hybrid Boba Fett helmet and lighting it up from the inside. It's just like, okay, you can never say that I am the crazy one.
Yeah.
You're over here cutting leather, and leather. Well, he made it
So
out of
our
thick leather.
husbands should never talk because he likes light up things.
Oh,
And
yeah,
so
16 years. Well, yeah, my husband's an electrician for 16 years. So in our group, yeah, when something needs to be lit up, we go to him.
you're like, honey.
Because he can figure it out in like 30 seconds and does it efficiently, and we're able to hide the batteries, and it's
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Let's oh man, gotta wrap this up pretty soon, but I want to ask you one final question, and this is maybe a big one, but what is it about costuming? What is it about cosplay? What is it about cosplaying specifically at Dragon Con that is so special?
That's a good question.
People's smiles. People like shocked. I don't know. Get inspired. It's like a lot. It's a lot of things.
Like
people will scream and they'll run across the floor to come see you and take a photograph.
Or you're screaming in your costume while you're going towards somebody else who is also screaming. Like,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's a loaded question because there's so much that goes to it.
Is there something specific about Dragon Con in particular that makes it a special place to cosplay?
It's probably the home vibe.
Yeah.
You're like transported into like another environment where you feel like at home with other people who are like-minded.
Yeah. Last year's Dragon Con really felt like a homecoming because like we had been through the pandemic and everything. So and that was my first con back because we missed 2020 and 2021. So when 2022 came, I was more amped than normal because I hadn't been to a con in like 2 years. So it really felt like, because like each con, it always has that feeling of like a family reunion, basically. Because there's some people who like you're only friends with, well, like not only friends with, like, but you're only like online friends. So you only see each other at cons. So I feel like that's kind of a part of the experience is like, it's just a homecoming. Like,
well, yeah, like Joe and me, we've been friends for years, but we only see each other at Dragon Con.
Yeah,
I mean, we chat online. We send each other Christmas cards. Yeah, but we only get to see each other in Atlanta. So
yeah, I would be excited to see Joe before I knew who she was. I used to I go to the G.I. Joe shoots all the time. I never knew her name. I just knew her as the woman who's either running or always attending the G.I. Joe shoots. And
screaming at all the guys.
Yes. Yeah. I think I was like 3-4 years in before I even knew what her name was. But she was always cool because I had my little G.I. Joe shirt she'd always pose with. And only see her once a year, but it is one of my favorite things, seeing her at the shoot or just out and about.
Yeah.
Yes, I enjoy it. I enjoy like seeing everybody at con.
Yeah, like that's my favorite con still.
Yep.
Like it's just something
for most people
about Dragon Con, and it's weird because when I normally go out, like I don't really like to be around too many people.
Same.
But at cons, it's just something different. Like I'm like, these are my people, so it just feels different. Like I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah,
it might be you're in the crush of a crowd, especially in the Marriott, but you're in a crowd that you're not going to get dirty looks from people. Somebody's not going to ask what the hell are you wearing, or why are you wearing that?
Yeah.
Or be like, and it's not just you.
It's not Halloween.
Yeah. Even my wife says Dragon Con Channing is different from rest of the year Channing. It's not just you.
Yeah. And I have noticed something else within like the past 5 or like 6 years of going. And this might just be something like that I've noticed. Y'all can chime in. So when it comes to like certain guys, they might not be as like confident with like talking to like different women, but at cons, like being in that suit, like they find like that confidence because they're getting so many compliments, like, oh my God, like you look amazing, or I had a crush on this character back when I was a kid, and like you like did them so well or whatever. And I just like how it like just uplifts them, and now they have that confidence to like, you know, going like talk to this woman or whatever. So
girls are like that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was very shy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can got one last question? Where can we find you at this year at DragonCon? Where do you hang out to showcase your cosplay? Where's the
Jen
best
and
place
I
to
are in
find
Brian's booth.
Yeah, Brian's booth in the Marriott. I mean, your most popular showcase spot is going to be the top level of the Marriott, the Pulse Bar level. Especially you're big, you're going to see the huge builds there. Because people with large costumes, they find a spot, they park in it, and then that way everyone can come to them to take photos. Yeah, if I'm not at Brian's booth, me and my group, we walk through the 3 main hotels because even though we're costuming, we're looking out for other costumes too, because we want to see all the cool stuff and photograph stuff. And so we'll pick a spot like in the Hilton lobby, be there for about 15 minutes to show off our looks and see everybody else's looks. And then we'll go do that at the Marriott and then make a circle around the Pulse level and then go down to Brian's level. Then we go over and do the same thing at the Hyatt. And pretty much a lot of people do the same thing. Everybody just, they go to each hotel. They'll spend about an hour there, park in a spot, then walk around and then go to the next area.
Eventually, I've gotten friends that are like, they're like stalking Brian's booth because eventually I make my way over there. So even that's where my husband will find me half the time. My phone, I can't get signal. He'll just go to Brian's booth and be like, has she come around yet? And he's like, no. So park his butt in a chair and just wait for me.
Yeah, and I'm typically like I'll be there during the day at his booth because, well, we both are. We tend to do daytime and nighttime costumes. So daytime, the time varies when I'm there, but like at night, yeah, you're typically going to find me at his booth between 8:30 and 9 because I want to get that nighttime costume photographed before I start drinking and sweating.
Yeah. And before the shoes come off and you're like, I'm walking the rest of the way barefoot.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely look forward to seeing what you guys are going to come up with this year, for sure. And I know it's a lot of time, effort, and sweat you guys put in this. And as a person who's been going to DragonCon for, like I said, this will be my 30th. It's one of the things I love most about DragonCon. So thank you guys for everything that you do, because it's just awesome to see what you guys come up with every year. And thank you for being on the show. We are going to draw a close to this episode. I really appreciate you guys joining us. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Keenan. Joe, where can people find you online if they want to check out what your progress on your cons or see what you've done in the past if they're not familiar with your cosplay?
On Instagram, it's Joe Colton Cosplay. On Twitter, it's J Colton Cosplay. Facebook is Joe Colton Cosplay.
Awesome. And thank you, Keenan. Where can people find you as well?
Yeah, man, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me on too. People can find me. I'm on TikTok at Aquarius Taught Me. Twitter is twitter.com/him and his hair. That's all one thing.
That's cool.
And Facebook, my cosplay page is facebook.com/Aquarius Taught Me Cosplay.
Awesome. And we will have links to all of those in our show notes so people can check you guys out. Thank you guys so much. And a big shout out to our station crew. Channing, thank you so much.
Always a pleasure. Only got about 3 names wrong, so we're getting better each week.
Well, better, worse, depending on your point of view, right? I'll see if I can make it more challenging next time. Where can people find you online in the meantime?
If they want to follow me for random stuff, I'm at Channing Sherman on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. But I'm still not doing TikTok dances, so don't even look for that.
Likewise.
The people are demanding it. You saw it. You saw a couple of comments there.
Yeah,
I
Sarah
saw
wants it. Sarah
Look.
wants to see those dance moves.
Look for the right price, we'll talk. But otherwise, no. I don't embarrass myself for free.
and thank you, Jen. Also, and where can people find what you're doing online?
On Instagram, I'm at Lil Bit Odd. That's LIL Bit Odd. My profile is private, but you can submit follow requests. I do open it up publicly when con gets closer, though. I just keep it private in non-con season, so I don't get a bunch of bot followers. And I'm part of the Dragon Con Report regularly, so you can find me there on Facebook. I'm also the creator and admin of the Dragon Con Parties, Meetups, and More group on Facebook.
Awesome.
That is a good page.
Oh, thank you.
You are doing the Lord's work with that one.
You are doing the Lord's work.
Awesome. And thank you, Director Faber, for working your magic behind the scenes. We really appreciate you. We try to cover all we can with these episodes, but to keep up with the latest news, please check out the official Dragon Con website, social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I think they're still active on Discord. All the fan tracks are active on social media as well. Be sure to check out, of course, the Dragon Con Parties, Meetups, and more on Facebook as well. That group is still, I mean, you're posting stuff every week now, right?
As it pops up, yeah.
Yeah.
But also, it's not just in non-con season. We do let people post events in their areas, and it's only Atlanta based during con week. And there's people from all over the world in that group. So when it's not Dragon Con time, you can post, cool cosplay events, or I think there was a sword fighting thingy. Mm-hmm. Sword fighting event was posted today or yesterday, and that's happening in Austin. So you can find all sorts of cool info in there. But yeah, as con gets closer and people start posting their schedule, there will be all of a sudden multiple daily blitzes, and the calendar will probably start populating by the end of June.
Right. And so join the group, and we're, like I said, we're all active. Dragon Con Report is active on social media as well. You can reach out to us via Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can email us at feedback@dragonconreport.com. If you want to access past episodes, you can go to our YouTube channel. And to watch them, the ones that were done this year, and you can go to dragonconreport.com to access any of the audio ones that we've done for the last 12 years. We are a proud member of the ESO Network. We have a TeePublic store filled with all kinds of cool stuff, including a very cool design for the Dragon Con Report podcast. There's a link for that in our episode show notes and at the top of the ESO Network page. We also have a Patreon page, so check that out. And again, we appreciate all our patrons so much. Thank you guys so much. And thank you for joining us once again. I'm your host, Mike Gordon, and as always, it's been my pleasure. I almost made it. Take care. Stay safe. Stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you all at the con.